The third is about, hey, now how can I build enterprise grade solutions for different industries or different productivity or engine functions and disseminate it across the organization, right? That's about the building and developing and sharing the solutions across the enterprise. Those are the three primary core challenges which we see, right? Okay, in a nutshell. So we thought to, hey, solve this problem, and this is a repeatable problem. Everywhere we go, we have to do this job again and again. Okay, so what we did, we built something called Generative AI Studio. Again, this is a double click of that. Hey, you have to think about tools and technology. You have to think about data. You have to think about all the engineering. You have to think about life cycle, operation, cost, security, responsible Gen AI, and of course all the development, UI, UX, and all of that. Okay, so we said, how can we could not find any solution honestly in the market which leverage which will solve all of these things, right? Okay, at one place. So we have solutions for this probably, you have solutions for this, we have solution for this, we have solution for separately, but don't have anything combined, and that's what we are trying to solve here, right? Okay, and we call it Visionary Gen AI Studio. So so in this essentially, again, without going to the nitty-gritty of all the technology pieces, right? Okay, what we have built is a platform fabric. It's like a one-click deployment. Most of the people are adopting generative AI using cloud native services, open source tools and technology, all kinds of enterprise or open source products in the market, right? So we took the best of the best in the market and combined together all of them and say, hey, you click a button, I'll give you a secured a platform where you can go and build any solution on top of that. We are not building solution as such, right? We are first building the fabric itself, right? It has a lot of things integrated. It's AD integrated. It has a standard conversational experience, one-click deployment. You can deploy across cloud provider. All of these things we have done. That's the first accelerator we have built. The second is the low-code, no-code platform which we have built. People can come and click a button and say, hey, I without knowing any technology, I want to build my first AI app, right? What I've seen is 99.9% people just talk about generative AI, but they can't build anything. They don't build anything. I don't know why. So we are trying to solve that problem. We were building a small low-code, no-code application platform where you can just go and click the buttons, upload your data, build the first app. Okay, that's the second thing. And third is that we are building a lot of marketplace of the solutions in different areas of industry, productivity, engineering. And we are saying, hey, you can just go and disseminate in your organization. It's a pre-baked solution which you can go and use it and build it, right? And we are evolving it. So those are the things. Again, those are the not just that we have put the wish list. We have gone through the second level of designing, third level of engineering. Everything we have done it, right? This is a double click of all of that, right? Hey, if I'm saying I'm building a platform, what does it mean? You have to think about this 20, 30 things. And each line item has another lot of 10 items. You have to think through all of that, right? So how do I incorporate all of this at one place, right? Okay. The second is about how do I build all the low code, no code platform? What are the things I needed? It's not just about allow you to go and create an application. Can I get a feedback out of that? Can I help you in authentication authorization? Can I give you a guardrail so that you are secure? So all of that has to be thought through in the design and engineering piece of that. And then we have built tons of industry solution as a marketplace, which can be leveraged or disseminated across the enterprise. Okay. These are the physical components, as I said, right? We have done the due diligence about all possible projects, open source projects you can think of, cloud services you can think of, and then we have clubbed together all of that at one place, essentially, right? Also a glimpse of that, okay, right? Okay, and this is agnostic to cloud. This is agnostic to any tools and technology. You can expand it, flex it. You have a flexibility to choose any model. You can flexibility to deploy anywhere. All of this is backed into, right? It's a modeling approach, right? Okay, once you build it, then you have to think about the lifecycle management also, right? It's not just what I build it once, right? So a lot of people will say, hey, it's easy to go and build things, right? But how do I make it take it from POC to production? That's the inherent challenge with LLM, right? It's very easy to go and build an MVP. That's why it says enterprise grade deployment is a very tough task. So we have said, okay, hey, what does life cycle management means? So first I give you a platform, I give a low code, no code to build it, then I allow you to do the experimentation, then I allow you to do the evaluation criteria, then I allow you to do the human feedback, then I allow you to go deploy, then I use to monitor and everything, right? So entire life cycle we are baking into one place. That's the whole purpose of this, okay, right? This platform which
Mr.
we're
Rahul,
calling
a
Generative.
prompt for you, close to 3 minutes. A prompt for you, close to 3 minutes.
Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, so and this is a demo. I'll give a quick demo of this. This is a live working product, sorry, platform which we have built essentially, right? I'll give a this is a first screen, landing screen. I've taken it. I'll show you that. And some of the uniqueness, I just wanted to highlight that these are the three things. As I said, primarily you have Fabric with all the tools and technology integrated. You have a low-code, no-code platform for doing quick experimentation and building the application within the enterprises, and a lot of solution marketplace. We have built it such a way that it can be deployed on any cloud provider. It doesn't matter, right? Okay, whether it's Azure, AWS, GCP, all three cloud providers. And for now, we have given a lot of gateways a solution. Like, hey, what we have seen, notice that People are just deploying an endpoints because you have model catalogs and you're consuming it without knowing, hey, it's very costly model for me, or it's not a model needed for my use case, right? So we have built a kind of eight gateway that, hey, whether you are using Azure or you're using AWS or using Google Vertex, right? Wherever you're deploying, you don't need to go through three different screens. You can combine all of that models or endpoints at one place and leverage it from one place rather than going to the AWS, Azure, or GCP and learn all these different kinds of services in that. So that's another feature we have built into that, right? As I said, life cycle management is very common ask from everybody. We go to the customer, can you, I build a POC, how do I get to take to the production? How do I evaluate all of that? That's what we have baked into that. Again, this field is still evolving. So as I said, every component is modular here. So today I'm saying the responsible AI or the evaluation criteria from Y Labs or Ragas or whatever the score we are doing, right? Tomorrow there's a new, better version of that. I can go and use that better version, integrate in this platform, and adopt to the new evolving field of Gen AI, right? As I tried to put some names again, there are many names in the marketplace, right? Okay, you have tons of low code, no code platforms available in the market. We have our own version, right? Okay, as I said, right? You have a lot of evaluation monitoring tools in the market. We have our own version of that. We have baked into build it, right? Okay. You have a lot of responsible AI tools, technology, which is building. I mean, the cloud providers. I've given one name, but there are many in the market, right? But our uniqueness essentially is that we are baking it all of these at one place. You don't need to know five different tools. You don't need to know five different cloud providers. You don't need to know five different tools and technology to bake into one place to go and deploy it, right? All of this one place. That's what our uniqueness essentially, I would say, right? Okay. So uniqueness is that one common comprehensive platform for everything. Uniqueness is that extendable, extensible, deployable at anywhere. Uniqueness is that it's much more cheaper than any other product in the market. You can say that, right? Because most of these are either cloud native or the open source projects. Okay. With this, I'll jump into it quickly. Again, we have some future improvements and all of that. We're still working, as I said. This field itself is evolving, so we are also evolving as the field is evolving, essentially, right? Okay. So I'll give a quick demo of this in next few minutes, right? Okay. So what this is the first part of the fabric, as I said, a platform components I was saying, right? That hey, you come this slide, you can remember that for all practical purposes, if you remember this slide, you know it, right? Okay. So whatever we are saying here, all of this, we are packaging it and we're saying, hey, come here, ask, give me few details about your landscape where you want to deploy the platform fabric. So GenAI platform fabric, let's say it's Azure, AWS, GCP, whatever, right? Okay. Give some details, click a button, deploy it, and then boom, you have this fabric enabled for you. It has all the backends as well as the front end, right? Okay. This is the front end version, not necessarily this is the only thing. We are giving a lot of backends behind the scene also, right? Okay. So that's the first thing we are giving you. The second thing we are seeing is that when you want to build any GenAI application, right, you can come and say, I want to build an application now. So it's a middle layer, right? Okay, which is a low code, no code platform. So primarily what we have seen is that three kinds of application: chatbots, RAG, retrieval augmented generation, and nowadays people are building the agentic AI, right? Which is giving the tools and technology, everything, right? Okay. So what we are giving enabling people is that within 5 minutes you can come and build your first RAG application for your data with the right guardrails, with the right models you can choose, right? Okay, and you can build it and you can play around and say that. So that's a second layer, which is working layer, right? Okay, which is about this layer, no code platform essentially, right?
Mr. Rahul, your time is up for the demo as well now. We
Okay,
start with the Q&A. If in case jurors had any questions, they would ask you for sure.
no worries.
Let me add a spotlight to the jurors. Yes.
Rahul, wonderful application.
Yeah, thank
Thank you.
you.
Professor Bilal, you have a first question, sir?
Yeah. Okay. First of all, thanks for a very good presentation. It's glad to see the work that you guys have been doing. Very impressive. I have a question. The question I have for you is, how does VisionNet Gen AI Studio ensures ethical AI practices, particularly in terms of privacy, fairness, transparency? Since it is kind of designed to be the audiences or the users are across different industries like healthcare, insurance, and retail. So yeah, if you can.
Yeah, sure. So there are two aspects. One is that all of these are baked into the design part of this platform itself, right? For example, when you're logging to this, it has to be AD integrated. Only vetted users can do that. When you create an application, only you can view that application because we are creating a separate tenant for your application, right? When you upload your data, it's stored in a separate index in the vector database, right? So when you do a prompt, that prompt is visible only to you. Nobody else can do that. So when you write a prompt with the PI data, we mask the PI data, right? Nobody can see that. When you get an answer out of that, that also PI masked out of that. So one part is about making everything in the product or the platform itself, all the responsible AI practices, which includes the ethical AI, as you said, right? Okay. The second part is about when you are taking into the market, right? So that's in the low code, no code platform. I couldn't show a lot, there's not have time. But when you go and create, you have an option. Hey, I want this. I want this application. My goals is this responsible AI score should be this much. We are scoring everything, right? We are correcting, clearing a lot of metrics, right? So say my accuracy score should be this. My hallucination score should be this. My responsible AI score should be this. All of that, right? So that's when you build it first time, and then you do a POC. We keep collecting the data points from you, right? Okay. So at the end, and then you go to the next level, which is about the human feedback. You go to the reliability testing, all of that, right? So we keep accumulating all the metrics of all these scores, right? And we give a governance score at the end, right? Which is in the mind. I couldn't show that analytics page. So we have a governance score. So for every application which you're building and take it to the production, we'll give a score about your responsible AI practices, hallucination score, all of that score. So you can decide whether this is good enough for me to take to the market or not. So these are the two ways we are handling as of today responsible AI practices, including your bias and ethics and all of that.
Thank you, Mr. Rahul. Yeah, Dr. Gulati, you have a question.
Yes, I do. Thank you for the presentation. I do like the completeness of your vision, the completeness of the platform. How are you helping your customers with the data? Some of them may not have data to fine-tune these models for their end application, to even verify, to evaluate how well they are working. Can you talk about how you might be helping them with the just building the right data set needed here?
Okay, so again, there are two aspects of this, right? So one is that we are not in the realm. This platform is not in the realm of clarity, of fine tuning a model, right? Okay, that's what we're not doing, right? Okay, so that's where you need a lot of data preparations, primarily for fine tuning others. We are not going to that realm, right? We are primarily in giving the fabric for building the application and making it live, production grade, and using it, right? Okay, but as far as this data within the building the application itself is concerned, right? Okay, how do I ensure that we are leveraging a lot of open source projects? You might have heard about Llama indexing, LangChain, all of that, right? To connect the different integrations layers, data integration layers, right? So that we can cover all your data types, all your data sources, and automatically you don't have to go and, as I said, you don't have, as an end consumer, you don't have to worry about, hey, I'm uploading a PPT or a PDF. How do I get chunking, vectorized indexing? All I'll take care as a platform, right? So I have a lot of data integration pieces baked into this product, which allows you to go and consume the data and upload it and build the products, right? Whether it's a RAG agentic, whatever you want to do that. To that extent, we have covered. We have integration with the cloud native services, like your Microsoft Data Fabric is there, right? Which itself is a solution for data management, extraction, all of that, right? So we have leveraging that also, right? We have integration with the data fabric, which allows you to connect the data sources within the world of Azure and you consume it for building the application, right? So that way we are covering the data types and data sources which is required for building the application, right? But not necessarily in the realm of fine to prepare the data questions and all of that. Okay, that part is not a part of the solution. Okay, just an FYI.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Kulkarni, your question, sir.
Yeah, Rahul, first of all, thanks for a good presentation. In fact, my first response is it appears too good to be true that you have been able to package so many things into your solutions. And that is the source of my question. So my question to you is, the various parts that you are dealing with are definitely complex. So when you integrate and create a solution, aren't you creating something super complex? Aren't the screens themselves intimidating? So just to convince me that this platform is effective, give me some numbers in terms of how much time it would have taken somebody to create whatever application they wanted to create without your platform and with platform, and in
Okay.
what kind of domain areas people have done it.
Okay. So in terms of numbers, right? Okay. So so Kulkarni, right, there are three components, as I said, right? One is a solution component, one is a low code, no code component, one is the platform fabric tools and technology component, right? So I'll do the numbers, right? One of our retail customer, right, which we are working with them, right? Okay, we are a partner with them, right? So they wanted to start the journey of generative AI in the at the enterprise scale, right? Not just doing a POC, right? So in order to build the first layer, which is the platform layer, integration, which is technology layer, they had been given a SOW or proposal of the magnitude of 500,000, right? And the timeline of around 5 months, right? Hey, I'll bring all of these things for you at a price scale so that your consumers, developers can build things on that. We said we can do it in half of the cost and probably half of the time, right? Okay, because we have built all of these things, we have learned all of this, we know already package we have already with us, right? So that's one example just to explain, highlight, and that too also we are being conservative because we are also in the business of making money, right? Okay, not that, right? So as part of that solution, we said because we have learned this, packaged it, I can do this thing for you half the time and half the money. Essentially, that's what I made the commitment, and we are doing that. Okay, so that's an example I gave you, right? Okay, that platform itself is a big thing. A lot of people are struggling with that. How do I do? What do I do? How do you package all of that? Okay. The second is a low code, no code. We are working on a pharma company, right? Okay. So they wanted to build something. They wanted to first say, hey, I want to have some percentage of my employees in the organization to adopt the generative AI, right? And they had no clue how to do all of this, right? They were looking into the Azure AI Studio, Bedrock, and all of that. The problem with those kind of solutions that is that then you have to learn about the AWS and Azure for people, right, to consume it. So what our solution, we propose that, hey, you don't have to learn, everybody doesn't need to learn the Bedrock or Azure AI Studio to consume it. I'm giving the solution, go and experiment them. It's like another UI you are concluding, right? You are just collecting UI, building your first application, right? So I'm not saying that, claiming that this is the only low-code, no-code application in the market to build the GenAI. There are plethora of tools, right? Okay, there. But our differentiation is that it's packaged in so well that you have a platform fabric, you have a low-code, no-code, and then you have a solution marketplace, right? Okay. I'll come to the third layer, right? We have built some of the solutions in the like Insure Gen we're calling, right? Which is like insurance life cycle management from the customer insurance agent life cycle. We have the product solution for underwriting assistant, right? Similarly, we have the products or the solutions built for retail, right? Multi-model search. So these again, what we are saying is that you don't have to. I'm calling it jump start profitability company. I'm not claiming that this is a that you will go and plug it and you can run it in your environment. It has to be changed according to your environment, your data sets, and all of that. But you get 60-70% jump start to build solutions for different industries. Okay, so I will not be able to pinpoint the dollar value on that, but I can definitely argument that okay, hey, those solution jump start will save you 50-60% of time in those areas. At least the three of the industries we're working with. Insurance, we call it
A
insurance.
quick follow-up question, Rahul. So help me understand whether you are positioning this as really a solution that the end users can use themselves, or is it a solution accelerator which is backed up by service offering from your side?
No, so local no-code solution, of course, as I said, all the three layers are different. They're modular. So if you're using low-code, no-code application, you don't need me, and that's the whole purpose, right? You don't need Rahul or anybody else to use that. You can leverage it for your data. That you can do it, right? Okay. The product, the last platform thing, once we deploy it to any customer, they can leverage it. They don't need it us, right? Honestly, if they want us to support, we can do that. That's perfectly fine because we have services around that LLM ops, lifecycle management, okay, right? The solution part, which is the first top part, we are not claiming it's 100% that you just plug it and you can use in the organization, right? It requires some amount of tuning, tweaking, integrations, data, all of that, right? That's where we put the SOW projects and all of that there layer also, right? Okay. So it's different for the three layers, honestly, right? But low code, no code you can use on your own. You don't need us once you're deployed. Platform fabric, once deployed, it's your platform fabric. It's not my fabric. I'm deploying your environment.
Thanks, Rahul.
Rahul, I have observation and comment. You're
Yes, please.
posing it as like an enterprise grade solution, right?
Correct, sir.
And enterprises has anyway capability to really write a code, and they're anyway using Azure or GCP or AWS. And most of these cloud, they have some or other facilities, right? And Azure is really taking up. Now, so the way you are positioning, like any kid can really use who doesn't understand the coding and can't really handle the enterprise platform. So I don't expect any answer, but I think this is the observation,
That's some
which
answer.
is like which is a kind of a conflict. And
No
there are
point
already
taken.
so many platforms are already there.
No point taken, sir. So we are not claiming that Azure AI Studio. That's why I say that Azure AI Studio does something similar. But imagine it's an Azure AI Studio for multi-cloud. That's point number one differentiator, right? You don't need to learn. So, for example, cloud is available in AWS Bedrock, for example, right? and Mistral is available in Azure AI Studio, let's say example, right? But you don't want two people to go to two different cloud providers, two endpoints, two console, learn two different things, right? That's why we say we have an AI gateway. You can deploy anywhere you want, but you can consume from one place. So that's why we're calling it. It's like an AWS Bedrock for multi-cloud, Azure AI Studio for multi-cloud. That's the first thing. Second thing, in the world of
No, I'm
cloud.
not. So I'm not undermining your value. I'm not
Oh, sorry.
undermining your value, right? I said this is a good project you have done. I'm just thinking about the sustainability, right? And the moat which you really have.
So,
Oh, yeah.
if I get a minute here, hi everyone. If I get a minute, we are recently working with one of the customer, which are in the optical business, right? With
Mm.
large businesses on lenses and other pieces, and they're world's pioneer customer in that. When I was meeting with the customer, they said, "Couple, I really want to focus on my customer experience and customer service side of the use cases," and they were looking for a third-party company which comes with some API. You plug in the API, and you good to go with those solutions. And trust me, those solutions are like SaaS-based solutions. So I was spending time with the customer that when you build your own Gen AI, how much time it takes you. So let's say 6 to 9 months, because you have to do framework, you have to get the stakeholders on board, your use cases, workshops, etc., whatever you do. Now, if I do that, or if Rahul and I do that, we can do it in like 45 to 60 days. Let's say we do the onboarding and stuff, then we have our Gen AI studio.
No, Kapil, I have understood. I have understood the value, right?
Okay.
I myself,
Okay.
I'm
No, but
building up LLM system, so I
what I was
very
trying to
understand
say,
what value you bring, right? That's the reason I said this is a comment and observation. I
no,
didn't
which is
expect you
good.
to really answer. Thank
Correct.
you
No,
so
no,
much. It's a
but the
wonderful
thing is
job.
like the
Mr.
use
Kapil,
cases
your
are different
time.
from business to business sometimes.
Time is over. It's a wonderful project. Keep it up.
Okay.
It's a
Thank
good
you.
innovation. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you to the jurors, and thank you, Rahul and team, for presenting the innovation. Wish you the best with the innovation. Well presented and well answered most of the questions as well. Thank you. Thank you for your time. You can join the other presentations as we move forward to the next presentation. Jurors would request you to please evaluate the session. In the meantime, we'll get the next set ready.
Okay. So we can log out, right?
You can join for the next presentation as well. Or if you want to be log out, that's fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Jurors, you can evaluate the next session, evaluate the session and just get the next presenter ready. Hi, Akash. Can you please share your screen now?
Yeah, hi, Javin. Just allow me. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, loud, clear.
Sure. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it's visible. No video in the presentation?
No, I'll share a demo at the end of the presentation.
Okay. Let me add a spotlight to you first. Just a minute. Can you please turn on your video, Akash?
Yeah, just allow me. Yeah, just a second. Yeah. Am I visible now?
Yes.
Sure.
Thank you, Akash. Adding a spotlight to you as well. And we start with the presentation.
Sure. Can I start?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, jury members. So I'm Akash, and I'm co-founder at QuirkGen AI. So today I'll be presenting QuirkGen AI, which is a flagship offering from Omkara Infotech. So QuirkGen AI is essentially a full stack enterprise Gen AI, and we are working on communication AI use cases. So this Gen AI is built for supercharging end-to-end business communication lifecycle. So the problem statement that we identified, right? Omni-channel communication and insights are broken, inconsistent, and expensive. So when I'm talking about omni-channel communication, the challenges that usually enterprises face, right? So the proprietary large language models, right? The consumer AI and the foundational LLMs that we have very limited exposure to knowledge base, right? Enterprise specific private knowledge base. And that's why they lack data centricity and context when it comes to domain specific or enterprise specific understanding, right? And due to non-personalized communication, the customer experience is suboptimal, right? So there is a lot of compromise in the customer experience. And multilingual speech technologies, right? The orchestration of voice AI needs speech technologies to evolve. So when I'm talking about speech technologies, it could be ASR, it could be text to speech, any speech engine, right? They have not really evolved, right? The accuracy numbers have not really evolved, right? To deliver that kind of an experience. So other than that, like when I'm talking about front-end telesales service marketing executives, they are crumbling under unrealistic expectations, right? Which they have to meet. It could be CSAT, it could be closure of collections, it could be closure of sales, and they are not AI enabled, right? AI is not empowering them. So most of the conversational AI solutions in the market or speech or analytic solutions in the market are trying to audit them, but they are not really empowering them. So less talk technologies have solved for this today. And contact centers have largely become cost centers, right? Because of inconsistent business communication and customer engagement, there has been a consistent decay in growth and margins, right? So essentially, a total cost of ownership of communication AI at an enterprise level is less than the opportunity cost of not implementing it, right? So and largely there is no visibility on customer trends, patterns, and preferences, right, which leads to customer churn and low stickiness. So now we are introducing QuarkGen AI. So with QuarkGen AI, you can configure your winning pitches, your growth playbooks, and retention metrics. So QuarkGen AI essentially is revolutionizing hyper-personalized and contextual multilingual communication journeys and insights through the transformative power of secure and private large language models, business logics, and speech technologies. So as you can see, we have products which can be positioned or provisioned across different customer touchpoints in the communication journey. So we have a communication GPT, which is essentially a voice GenAI agent. It's a hyper-productive and hyper-personalized voice GenAI agent, which can manage consumer sales and support lifecycle on phone calls. It could be processes like insurance sales, real estate sales, or credit card sales. Business GPT is an interactive product which can be launched at any part of the consumer or basically the product journey, right? So basically, it's a chat interface. And Quark Assist is a communication co-pilot. It's a real-time agent assist which understands the voice of the customer, the frustration, the grievances, and then basically configure different LLM-powered recommendations live as it is advising the frontline advisors, basically the call center executives. So it's not just another AI tool, right? It's complete human-centric and augmented omnichannel intelligence. So it is secured by ISO 27K and SOC 2 Type 2, right? Available for any enterprise scale-up. And it's retrained with enterprise-specific private knowledge base, right? And it is available in 50 plus languages. And it's human plus AI, right? We are not looking to replace any human, but it's more of augmented understanding, augmented functioning. So human plus AI, which is a combination of your emotional AI and knowledge AI and responsible AI. So hybrid Gen AI is like the kind of offering that we have is hybrid Gen AI, where it's a reliable mix of private large language model, RAG application, and state-of-the-art algorithms, basically. So we are doing anything like conversational UX to AI agents, to predictive decisioning, digital product analytics, right? And it's agile CX, right? The LLM ops is completely on us. And we can have a multi-cloud or an on-prem approach because it's a private LLM. So we're just trying to understand about the GenAI market, right? In 2023 itself, US accounted for the largest GenAI market globally, and sectors like IT, telecom, healthcare, manufacturing had led the show, right, in terms of GenAI adoption. And EY predicts that GenAI itself can add to like almost a 438 billion by end of 2030 to Indian GDP, right? So understanding the trends and market opportunities. So 80% of enterprise data sits in the unstructured format, right? And as we move up, like the unstructured complexity increases, like when I'm talking about from text, voice, video, right? So with the transformative power of GenAI, a lot of insights can be generated, right? Which the business can leverage to unlock efficiencies across different processes. So if you see, Bloomberg is predicting that GenAI revenues could boost up to 1.3 trillion USD, right? Growing at a CAGR of 42% from 2022 to 2032, essentially. And the Indian market itself, GenAI market itself by 2030 should be able to surpass $17 billion. So obviously communication use cases, right? Given the conversational and reasoning nature of Gen AI, right? Conversational use cases would definitely find use over there. And then obviously, as we move towards multimodality, we will add more and more use cases. So in terms of uniqueness, one thing that we did really well was orchestrating voice engines in Indian languages, right? Low latency, very responsive, interactive dialogue flows, right? We were able to understand the Indian context, emotion, empathy, and we were able to design the complete dialogue flow, right? And in terms of scalability and security as well, so we are secured by ISO 27K SOC 2 Type 2. And in terms of scalability, we have actually tested it on 100K concurrent interactions, right? So I'm talking about some business impacts, right? So how is QuarkGen impacting in any enterprise business? So one is growth and profitability, right? With QuarkGen, you can reach out to millions of users and prospects, right? You are not limited by a traditional contact center approach, right? And in terms of conversions as well, you are understanding your customer preferences, needs, trends, patterns, and then you are able to curate a pitch real time with the help of LLMs, right? And then essentially you are able to arrest customer churn, right? Because you are understanding their preferences and grievances much better, right? You are able to generate insights from conversations. So you are essentially driving up CSAT and PS scores, right? And reducing down dissatisfaction. And obviously workplace stress as well, right? So frontline advisors, they are very stressed out under a lot of targets. And future of enterprise search is largely conversational. So why not actually help them, right?
Akash, prompts, you're close to a minute now.
Yeah. So we did a bit of benchmarking with traditional script-based voice bots, right? And we saw that we were able to actually generate more savings as compared to a script-based voice bot, right? And also we were impacting metrics like connectivity rate, connected call completion rate, etc. So this is another use case. Like the other one was an outbound call. This was for an inbound call. We were able to generate more savings, more ROI, better customer experience. And in social impact and sustainability, so basically what we are doing essentially, right, we are only using LLMs if it is necessary. So with combination of highly strategic workflows, optimized transformer model architectures, we are trying to reduce down our memory footprint and thereby helping you accelerate towards your net zero goals, right? And computational spends as well. And it's truly multilingual, right? It helps aid economic growth, right? So we are breaking that language barrier, geographical barrier. QuarkGen is also aimed at empowering workplace productivity. So we are unlocking a lot of efficiencies, right? We are providing LLM-powered insights and recommendations and real-time suggestions, and improving the overall workplace satisfaction.
Few seconds left, Akash.
Yeah, so this is the founding team, essentially. So if you give me a minute, I can play the demo.
Demo would be on few seconds then. Please proceed with the demo.
Yeah, so...
Can you come to the main part here? Yeah.
I think there's...
Juru, the time is up for QuarkGen. Do let us know during the Q&A if you wish to see the...
Executive of Noise.
I'll just play for a minute and then jump to the Q&A.
I need to take a permission with the jurors first.
Yeah, let us do it in Q&A as a part of Q&A.
As a part of Q&A, let's have the timer for the Q&A on now. Akash, please make sure the timer of the Q&A is on for the demo as well now. So don't miss the opportunity. Yes, please play the demo.
Sure.
And with any query related to the Noise smartwatches. How can I help you, sir?
Yeah, can you help me resolve my charging issue? It's really very annoying. I'm not able to charge my device.
I am extremely sorry to hear this, sir. Can you please tell me how long you are facing this issue?
For the last 2 weeks, madam. Very annoying.
I am extremely sorry to hear this, sir. When was the last time you have charged your device?
Some 3-4 days back. I cannot remember exactly.
Are you having the device available with you right now?
Yeah, I have it handy.
Please follow the following steps.
Okay.
Please clean the charging pin of the watch.
So I hope you could get an experience of what we are trying to solve over here. So I'll just stop the demo and then we can jump into the QA, and I'm open for question and answer.
Dr. Gulati, you would like to go first?
Thanks for the presentation and the demo. I think one question I have is, there's been a very rapid improvement even in voice-to-voice models. So GPT-4 Omni showed, even for the long slew of Indian languages, much better performance. So in a world where the underlying model capability is already getting stronger, how does QuarkGen continue to, build a moat or continue showing advancement?
Akash, you're on mute.
Sorry. So as you rightly said, right, at a foundational model level, a lot of capabilities are being built. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to understand domain-specific use cases, right? We are trying to understand specific call flows, right? There are a lot of natural expressions when I'm talking about, let's say, suppose an Indian context, right? The Hindi spoken in UP is very different from the Hindi spoken in Delhi, right? So we are trying to work on those kind of nuances, like the basically the natural expressions, right? A lot of people express anguish when I'm in a customer support call and then my device is not really working, right? So and that device really holds a lot of importance in my day-to-day activity. So we're trying to understand those use cases, right? When I'm talking about a credit card sales, so if I have to understand the customer persona, the user persona, so we are solving for niche problem statements, like niche use cases, like credit card sales, insurance sales. So our objective is to understand customer emotions and then empathize accordingly live in the call.
Thank you. Professor Bilal, would you like to go second?
Yeah, can you just explain the privacy measures that you have in place, because it's a conversational conversation that you guys have been storing or you guys are getting on your platform. So what are the security measures around it? If you can say.
Sure. I'll take that question. So basically, Professor Bilal, what we are trying to achieve over here is complete data privacy, right? And we are ISO 27K and SOC 2 compliant. The other thing that we are doing, we are deploying it on-prem because we are working with large BFSI companies like banking and financial services, because data security is of paramount importance to them. So what we are doing, we are making sure that data, right, enterprise specific data or customer PII never actually leaves the company or the enterprise network. It should not exit the firewalls of the company. We are ensuring that the data stays within their data center itself. So that's how we are ensuring data privacy when it comes to handling customer PII or any enterprise specific data.
Thank you.
So it seems that this is a wrapper product on top of GPT or Llama. So what is the underlying base model?
Yeah, so we are not building on top of OpenAI. So our objective is to
which model? I understand. Is it a Llama or what?
So it's a combination of different models. So we are building on Mistral. We are also using Llama. We are using a variety of open source models, and then
from where you're getting this data to really train. So your enterprise customers are providing you the data.
Yes, largely from the enterprise customers.
Okay, and these voice models, how you're fine tuning the voice models?
So voice models, we are fine tuning based on context. So we are adding keywords. We are adding more and more context to the language models, and that's how we are able to fine tune.
So you're using Whisper of OpenAI, or which language model you're using?
Yeah, in some cases we are using Whisper and then fine tuning it.
What is the uptake? What is the deployment? What is the number? How many enterprises are using? What is the uptake in the market? It seems a good product.
Yeah. So basically, we started our GTM last year itself, and we have been able to successfully onboard a lot of global system integrators, right?
Okay.
So we're working with large global system integrators. That's one, and also we are into direct enterprise.
Can you indicate some numbers, like how many customers you must have impacted?
Yeah. So basically, we are working with large three global system integrators, and with them we have successfully executed 5 projects. And then we are also working with a lot of banking and financial services company based out of India, right? So large insurance corporations and large banks.
Okay, so tell me, like, this is a overly crowded market with very low entry barrier. Anybody can really build this kind of solution, right? So what is your sustainability of your business?
Yeah. So essentially what we are trying to solve, because in Gen AI, right, we see that the most scalable business is document and communication AI, right? These are the first things that come to mind when I think about solving something with Gen AI, right? And then obviously multimodality, in terms of adoption, it will take some time.
Okay.
So what we are trying to do over here, we are trying to build generative flows, right? If you see, it's a very crowded market. You have companies like Unifor, Core.ai, right?
Everybody is in.
Yeah, building on top of ChatGPT. So we are moving a step away from those intent-based conversations, and we are trying to build more and more complex generative flows, right?
Okay.
But the conversation would be very simple. So that's the problem we are trying to solve. And in terms of the team as well, right? Our three-fifth of our founding team has worked with companies like Ericsson Sweden.
Thank you so much. We would like to really see some of your responses on Hindi. English, everybody is able to really demonstrate. But have you been able to really do something significant and fine tune on Hindi? Thank you so much. Good. Over to Dr. Kulkarni or any jury member.
Yeah, Akash, the one question I have is actually a takeoff from what you just answered. But, a very specific question in terms of, have you built any technologies of your own, which you can claim as your own, and which either are in the patenting pipeline or for which you have already got patents?
Yes. So we are actually trying to build one solution. For confidentiality purposes, I'm not naming the client, but we are building a solution which we could file for patent, right? So something which is not being solved by, I won't say any developer today, but yeah, I mean, there are less developers who are solving for this. So we have built a speech-to-speech translation model, and that is solving for a particular use case. Like you can actually relocate your workforce to a low cost zone. So what we are trying to do, as say, suppose in Zoom meeting or Teams meeting, if I'm speaking in English and you are speaking in Spanish, and if I don't understand Spanish, right, there will be a speech to speech translator that would be integrated at a video conferencing level, and it should be able to translate what you are saying in Spanish to me in English real time. So that is something that we are working on, two use cases, largely on two projects, one with the offshoring giant and the other with a global system integrator. And once that materializes, we might file for a patent.
Okay, that's for the future. But as of now, the product doesn't have any technology which you can claim as your own.
So we can claim the backend, the optimized, the orchestrated voice AI that we have as our own. And the transfer learning that we did, right? We did a lot of fine tuning based on different data that was available, specific enterprise specific data, right? So that is something that we can say that, okay, we have made it our own for BFS. So we are largely working with banking, financial services, and consumer internet. So that is the technology that we are actually building.
But finally, how long has this been under development?
The entire product you are saying,
yeah.
Right? So the entire product, it took almost like 7 months to build, and then we went to the market.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Akash.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Wonderful work, Akash. I think you have picked up a right area. Not everybody can build up the LLM models, but at least you have started building up solution and started making money. Keep it up. Okay. I would like to some of your work on Hindi.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I'll share
okay. Good work. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Juras, and thank you, Akash, for your presentation. And you completed your presentation as well as the demo plus the Q&A. So wish you the best with the innovation. You can join for the other presenter. We'll make the next presenter ready.
Thank you.
Juras would request you to please enter your scores for QuarkGen. Team Mathco, we would request you to please share your screen now. We'll get your set ready since jurors are evaluating their next previous presentation. Mr. Banerjee, I hope you are able to share your screen. Sir, you're on mute.
Sorry, yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud, clear, sir.
Yeah, okay. So I will share my screen, but I also have my colleague Anup who will do a quick demo towards the end of the presentation.
Surely.
Sure. Okay.
Surely. Anup is also there. Anup and Aditi. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me share. I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes, sir. We are able to see the screen.
Yeah, thanks, Gavin, and very good evening to everyone. I'll get started right away. So we are Mathco. We are talking about our innovation called Nucleus, which is basically a platform that enables custom GenAI assistant for the enterprise. So we are basically so before that, I'll quickly cover the agenda. So we will talk about the variety of GenAI assistants we have built. So we are basically a data science service provider, and we get a lot of custom enterprise assistant build requests. So from that we have learned a lot, and that is basically the genesis of why we built Nucleus. And we will talk about Nucleus, the unique features of Nucleus, the impact that it has created for Mathco and some of its clients, and then a quick demo to show you what Nucleus is. Just one quick thing that it's not a product in itself. We position it as an accelerator, which helps us build our GenAI custom capabilities in the enterprise quickly, and serves as a differentiator for our offerings. So just to talk about the kind of problem we have been solving. So we have solved enterprise assistants or enterprise co-pilots across different domains. So some of them examples are like a data discovery assistant where I have thousands of SQL tables. Can you help me search through what is there in those tables? Marketing GPT, asking questions about the effectiveness of marketing, where we have to interact with the SQL tables and sometimes marketing ROI models. We have brand strategy assistant in pharma industry where they have like large market research decks, and it's cumbersome to read through them. So there are an assistant to simplify life and search through those decks. So I'll not go through each of this, but I think the key thing is the variation in the use cases is a lot. And in a lot of occasions, people come to us where they have to work with a lot of different types of data, a lot of different types of assets, including models and so on, to answer questions which are related to the business. So now typically what we have learned in our deployments is that enterprise systems need to connect to multiple organizational assets and should be able to disambiguate which questions uses what asset. So what I mean by that is, let's take an example here. If an assistant, I can come to the assistant and ask what is my sales for 2020, which the answer lies in a SQL database. What is the impact of 1% in price increase on sales? The answer is lying in a regression model with price and sales. So the answer is in the hidden answer is somewhere in the model, and you can simulate the model will be used to simulate the impact of price increase on sales. What was our strategy to increase sales last year? So if I want to learn what I did last year, so that answer lies in a PowerPoint deck about price increase last year. So essentially, the assistant should be smart enough to disambiguate the question and direct the question to the right asset in these use cases. Then each assistant needs customization. So typically, it's easy to make like demos of assistants, for example. But when we actually make like enterprise applications, the LLM needs to understand all the nuances and the organizational context a lot. And so and these manifest in different tables. Sometimes, for example, we are talking about how the relationships between the tables are in an enterprise. That needs to go as a context. The metadata about the table, what each column means, what is the business name of each table. Those things need to go to context. Sometimes the metrics are vastly different between organizations. So custom context is needed to make these assistants work and understand the questions better. Then one model may not be best for all fit. All use cases and may not be the cost-effective solutions always. So what we have seen is that typically for reasoning kind of use cases, where we have to understand which asset needs to be used for what question, things like that. A powerful model like GPT-4 works. but it is expensive. But something like if you have to do a small task or a pointed task like SQL generation, an open source model also a good alternative in these situations. So essentially, like we mixing and matching model will give you better accuracy and better costs savings also. And lastly, the users need to be interacting with an assistant that they find intuitive and they can trust. So these are the broad categories of problems which we have seen while building. So what we did was we solved some of these in our Nucleus platform, and we accelerate the building of these use cases through those unique features in the platform. I'll quickly go through those features, and I'll let Anup do a quick demo of what those features are also. So essentially, when we talk about multiple organizational assets and the ability to disaggregate, we allow onboarding multiple skill sets. Skill sets examples are like SQL generation is a skill set, RAG, and different versions of RAG are different skill sets. We also have like PowerPoint cleaning modules inside inside Nucleus. Then we have orchestrators that understand the user question and route it to the right skill sets to use. We have separated the deployment because we have seen multiple skill sets been onboarded and they conflict with each other. Typically, they're Python codes or in these cases. And so we have separated the deployment environment by using a Kubernetes vision-based architecture so that they don't conflict with each other in those cases. Now, each assistant needs customization. So we have we enable onboarding very custom codes using a CLI-based interface, and we are able to add custom context in the form of metadata or whatnot using simple JSON structure. And we are adding like complex structures like graphs also as context to Nucleus, right? Then Nucleus enables deployment and fine tuning and serves as models as an API. So it could be a closed source model which is already fine tuned or deployed. We just take the API in those cases. But in open source also we have the infrastructure to deploy and fine tune. And we have a package to inference them in a common way. So each model has its own inference way. We have written our own Nucleus package which supports out of the box a few 18 models, if I'm not wrong today, which we can quickly deploy and integrate with Nucleus front end. Then we have certain features which to make the user the experience, the final user experience intuitive and something they can trust. So essentially, we have a module to display the right graphs for each SQL kind of answers. So where the answer is SQL, the answer is Nucleus automatically select the right graph to display to the user. The answers can be trusted because we provide citations. The citations can be what document the answer came from or the SQL query, so that people can actually diagnose the query also. We have pre-built custom UI components. Some of our customers use a lot of the scenarios creations using Nucleus. So we have pre-built scenario generators that can as React components that can come as part of Nucleus. And this interface, because a lot of our customers want Nucleus, the bot integrate with their existing platforms. Sometimes can be web apps, sometimes Tableau, etc. So it easily integrates with other applications and sits on top of that. Before Anup goes into the demo, just some quick how does Nucleus benefit us? It drives significant revenue growth for us. So our generative AI service line is something that we created last year, already like around on target to become 8 to 10% of our revenue. We have 40 plus custom GenAI prototypes built, which we use for our sharing with our customers. We have 10 plus ongoing deployments of client use cases in GenAI using Nucleus, and it enables us to scale across domains because there is reusability across domains that we have seen. Like text to SQL is a common use case. RAG is a common use case.
Close to a minute, sir, for a demo.
I will stop and let Anup take it over.
Anup, you're on mute. Please be careful.
Yeah. I hope my screen is visible now.
Yes, sir.
And I'm audible. Okay, perfect. So I'll just keep this quick. There are two parts to the platform, how you configure a Copilot and how you consume it. So the configuration is split across a couple of key sections in terms of how to onboard enterprise data, SQL, NoSQL, unstructured, structured. We have a bunch of options that work out of the box. The next bit is, what are the skill sets that power that you sit on top of your data, right? Now, these could be contextual to the domain. Like, for example, you could have something contextual to pharma, something contextual to, retail and all of that. So this is representative Depending on the customer we deploy, we have some assets that ship along with the deployment to a customer's environment. So one is this gives acceleration when we deploy. Two is all these skill sets are configurable. So configurable in terms of what inputs you can give, and also configurable in terms of what options you can set. So 1 minute. This blocking. Yeah, this is configurable both in terms of what inputs you can give and additional context you can provide. Additional context could be in form of additional data, context in form of data summary, data dictionaries, and also what models you want to use. So Saurabh mentioned we could use a powerful model like OpenAI for orchestration, and a less powerful model for maybe for generating a SQL query when you query a data. Right. So there are a bunch of options that are available here, and on top of this, we allow people to add custom models, deploy open source models on the platform and integrate that here as well. And like I said, there's an orchestration module. So as you configure multiple skill sets for a Copilot, like querying a model, querying a data source and all of that, you want to define what orchestrator to use. It could be something like OpenAI, or we have ability to use custom orchestrators as well. The next bit is I quickly want to go into the consumption side of things. So this is a snapshot of how we can deploy models and consume that here.
Anup, the time is up for the presentation. We'll start with the Q&A time to add the time here. You can close your demo as early as possible so that you can have time for the Q&A as well. Please start the timer for the Q&A. Anup, please continue.
Sure, I'll just wrap it up in a minute. So quickly on the consumption piece, right? So after you configure a Copilot, this is how a business user would consume it. So we work with B2B customers. So typically this gets embedded into their applications. So here are examples of how the responses would look like. So when you query market reports, you get citations of what document you query, what document, what slide, what page number was used to retrieve the answer and things like that. Likewise, if you're querying data, we give insights into how we generated this answer, what table was queried, and so on and so forth. Likewise, there are examples of querying models. So for example, in this use case, I try to simulate what is the price impact of, what if I change my price for a certain SKU, what is the impact on my overall volume sales. Likewise, if I'm changing the promotion for a particular SKU, what is the impact on my total, revenue and things like that, incremental revenue generated by my promo sales and so on. Right. So these are a few examples. And finally, this, as you've seen, right, there are a variety of visuals that you see on the consumption side, from charts to text to images and all of that. So these are configurable depending on what customer we deploy the solutions to, and the solutions themselves can be embedded anywhere. Right. So here's an example of a Tableau dashboard. So just to give you context, you can embed this as a plugin into Tableau, Power BI, or any custom web apps that customers might have. So I'm taking a pause here.
Sure.
In the interest of
Let's
time,
start with the Q&A then.
Yeah.
Just let me add a spotlight to Saurabh. Yes. Julius, we open for question. Professor Bilal, you can go first, sir.
Okay, I just would like to know, since you have been trying a multimodal kind of a platform that takes into account the SQL sources, which are databases, to the AI models, which might be returning you JSON files, and then non unstructured as well, which might be like you mentioned, presentation. So how you guys, at the end of the day, how you guys are incorporating them into this conversational interface in your Copilot? I would like to know more about them.
So Professor Bilal, I think so all of these at the end of the day are Python modules, right? So even if you have a essentially SQL query, the SQL query gets executed in database, but the Python code orchestrates the SQL query generation and execution. Model is a Python code. Even the RAG document querying could be a Python code. So at the end of the day, it's a Python-based code base with some guidelines that gets onboarded as a skill set to query, and we have in the Python code a connected to a database, connected to a SharePoint, and multiple other sources that we have pre-built connectors to that we can essentially query the right data set.
No, I see. Good. No, excellent. Thanks for that.
Dr. Kulkarni, you're next.
No, I'm fine, Gavin. I have no questions at this point.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Gulati?
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. I think this is a very valuable solution. How do you verify correctness? Because you are using GenAI to come up with the SQL queries itself, right? Like, and creating queries is not a solved solution yet. Like, it can hallucinate, it can create incorrect queries. And if business decisions are being made, they can't afford hallucinations. So how do you verify correctness, or how do you give confidence on your results?
That's a good question, because I think honestly it's not 100% accurate because it's a model result, and we have also been struggling to explain that to businesses in a lot of occasions. But there are 2 3 solutions. So one is so I would say SQL query generation is still pretty accurate. Where we struggle is like essentially when we need additional context about the organization, which the LLM out of the box doesn't know. So at first we have modules to feed in that context. So typically we'll have, like, for example, if in your case marketing ROI calculation has a certain formula, we have the ability to feed in that context, that and we have a context module that goes as an input to the copilot or this assistant. So that's one way to make increase accuracy, and then we obviously test at each stage, right? Like we have a test test data sets to benchmark at each stage. If it's a multi-agent system, each agent is validated, and then the final system is also validated, and then we have a system monitoring in place that basically tracks the RAG accuracy, the SQL accuracy, each agent's accuracy in itself in isolation, and the total system accuracy. And then we have user feedbacks. At the end of the day, whatever accuracy metrics we score, user feedbacks is what matters, whether the answer is useful or not. It can be correct, but it cannot be useful yet. So we have all these checks and balances in place. Sometimes in some of our implementation, we also have LLM-based validation. So where LLM based on the question and answer provides a response score, but it can be hit and miss because sometimes it slows down the system. So it creates latency issues for us. So having said that, I think in most of our implementation, we have gone to about, say, 87-88% accuracy in most of our systems, but the questions keeps evolving. So that's had been our challenge. So some of our so sometimes what we do is also guardrail the adoption by saying that, hey, these are the kind of questions you should ask, and this is what it is able to answer today or not. So honestly, Kanu, if you ask me, it's still an evolving thing, and the solution is not necessarily only technical. So we have used technical plus design interventions to make sure the answers are reliable.
I think that's the right way to proceed here.
Yeah.
I think that is the right way to approach it. You can solve every possible what if question on day one, but guardrailing what people may ask, and also giving them confidence score along with it will just help with adoption. Thank you. That's helpful.
And the citation, because they have ability to verify the query and the various sources. Yeah, that's very important.
Thank you.
Vinay here, Saurav and Anup, I have one question. In your work so far, have you encountered situation where when you take in multiple data sets, there are contradictions within the data set? In which case, then how do you decide which data set to use? I mean, I'm referring to various Excel sheets, CSV files, and databases that may exist.
So we have had this situation in a couple of implementations. So let me give you an example. In a pharma use case where they have thousands of tables, and we have to figure out, like, if I need patient ID in immunology, which table should I go to? And that immunology patient ID will be across 3-4 tables and all of that. So there is no easy solutions for that. So we have had to essentially create descriptions of so there are catalogs in these cases. So essentially, which has some of the descriptions of tables and columns, and we have actually went and created LM-based descriptions of columns to do that. And then we have had to also create graphs. So basically, once you fire that patient ID and immunology, 2 entities are detected, and then you can the simple system will go and essentially find the most relevant table, but the graph also looks into other data elements and other tables that would have this information, and we essentially take the build the entire context using the entity match plus graph, and then feed it to the LLM and let the LLM then prioritize based on the most relevant description that is shortlist. So essentially, what I'm saying is it's a good question, and the solution lies in how well you are able to feed that context about each of those tables, each of those columns into the system to make it work.
So this is still a manual process, as I believe.
Yeah, so we are now in the process of basically building that graphing logic into the platform. It's still ongoing, but I think we should be able to do it quickly.
Okay, thank you.
So, Saurabh,
Thank you
good
so
work. And since this is an innovation award, I tend to compare almost every solution with existing solutions. So there are hundreds of such solutions are there, starting from Azure to hundreds of solutions. So can you really highlight 2-3 innovation which you have brought in?
Yeah. So yeah, I think there are lots of solutions, and they are all good solutions, and we get compared often also. So
Right.
our two big things, our big differentiators here are, like, see, Azure works natively well in their ecosystem. Salesforce will work natively in their ecosystem. Snowflake Copilots work natively in their ecosystem. So when we have to, but typically when you take decisions, you have to connect these systems to take complex decisions. So most of our use cases are about, like, connecting so disparate sources and answering questions from different sources. So essentially, each of these copilots, if they expose the API, they can be an agent in our system. If you have to think of it that way. So
Azure, you can also connect the multiple data sources, what you have been showing, right? And it precisely works the same way as you're doing.
No. So
Azure does not natively interact with analytical models and intelligence artifacts. It's even enterprise data, like for example, data warehouses, is not natively possible on the Azure Studio. They look at flat files, knowledge management files, and things like that.
Okay.
That's one. Second is, like, context. So how do you capture that custom enterprise context? I think that is also has now. So a lot of our work goes in capturing that context for the enterprise to make the enterprises, the LLM work. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.